Good morning, afternoon, evening, and snowstorm. This is Harvest Moon, The Tale of Two Towns. This is the DS version. I will not be playing the 3DS version because it's the only cartridge game I have ever played that crashes. Yes, really. This is a unique entry into the Harvest Moon franchise. It's quite a fun one to play. It's got an interesting, if really fucking stupid, premise. And there's a lot of cool and interesting design decisions they made, as I hope you will stick around to see. It's something of a hidden gem for the franchise I think you guys should check out. Now, the Ocarina of Time thread voted on a female character named Dio. If you haven't seen Hero of Leaf Valley yet, that name is much more ridiculous than that game. But for now, just an average young lady hoping to start a life on the farm. I'm going for the 30th of summer because my own birthday is in July 30th, so it's what I've pretty much always gone for. This is one of the few Harvest Moon games with 31 days in the month. Usually it's only 30. Now, this first part is pretty much the most patronizing tutorial section I've seen in a good while, so my commentary is going to be much more limited than it is in the other parts. You're very welcome to completely skip this part, quite frankly. Part 2 will be uploaded at the same time, though, in case you don't want to miss too much in the first week. But if you have played this game before, take note of the surroundings. It'll be slightly amusing in hindsight. What's not so amusing right now? Poor old Dio has knocked her head out. And she gets eaten by her horse. Faithless cur. So, they dragged me all the way to the top of the mountain. In case you're curious. Thanks, I was a lot closer to Konohana, which has an actual clinic. Well, yes, it was, although thanks to the knock on my head, I don't remember which one I chose. But we remember. And thus we have the central conflict of the Tale of Two Towns. These are the mayors of Bluebell and Konohana. Rutger's the mayor of Bluebell, Ina's the mayor of Konohana. They're both perfectly nice people until they get together, and then they just hate each other and turn into children. They pretty much only live to argue. It's slightly embarrassing. Please don't tell me about Bluebell. This tutorial is long enough as it is. Bluebell is the livestock and animals village. Don't need to tell you about Konohana. Konohana is the crops village. You can grow crops in Bluebell and raise livestock in Konohana as well, but you have much less space for those. The thread shows all the cows. I like these characters when they're not together. It really is pathetic, this argument they have going. And just wait until you see why they hate each other. It's even worse. We'll have the option later to move to Konohana if we wanted. Conform. This is one of the more esoteric, pointless, but interesting options in the game. We can change our outfit. Certain characters actually prefer different outfits, depending on which boy we end up wanting to woo later on. I'd like you to think about this. Yes, it's a specific functionality of the touchscreen, but Rutger's teaching me how to put on clothes. It's silly. At least I look cute. I also like how Rutger's hat is levitating. Something tells me that's going to be one of our ultimate goals in this game. Reuniting the two villages into one harmonious pile of people that inexplicably hate each other. Which is funny, because the actual villagers seem perfectly cool with each other. It's only the mayors. And a mysterious lady. Looks exactly like her other installments in this series, so big shocker who it is. Now, my farm can only ever be the worst farm. Even Rutger's like, really? The worst farm will be a great farm. Thank God we already have other livestock. Here's where it gets really patronizing. Here's how you move. In his defense, though, the L button to switch between walking and running isn't something that is in any other Harvest Moon game. It's not in a lot of games, really. And it's a very nice function. One thing you'll find, Tale of Two Towns is very interesting from a design standpoint. There's a much more tangible sense of freedom of movement. Look at this, I can actually jump, get to places very quick and easy. In other games, like if I wanted to go over a fence, it would just be an automatic jump. But here, I can actually explore and feel like I'm really seeing these little places, these little towns and my farm. I really like a lot of the design decisions they went with for this game. Good, you can speak! You've been quiet this whole time, so I mean... I called it the worst farm for you, I hope you're not mad. If you're curious, Ina gives you this same spiel if you go to Konohana. And if you're curious where the bottom screen is, it's completely blacked out for this sequence. I'll pull it back up when we actually use it, though. He's saying not to throw it away. This is the only Harvest Moon game I can think of where if you throw an item, it doesn't immediately disappear as soon as it hits the ground. It actually stays there, and it doesn't disappear. So if you ended up throwing something by accident, you can go pick it up and put it back in your rucksack. Why don't more Harvest Moon games do that? That's such a good idea, and such a simple, easy idea. If you haven't guessed already, aside from this annoying tutorial, I really like Tale of Two Towns. They also give you a lot of freedom as far as just things you can keep on your person. If you notice, there were actually multiple tabs, one for just items, a second one for fish, and a third for little critters like bugs. So we can actually keep multiple different types of items on us that we can just all sell at the same time. You're never really hurting for money in this game. But you're also never really hurting for things to buy, so... Lots of good points in its favor so far. It's about time I played a game where I was really positive from the start. But to close out the tutorial, just gonna quickly look around a house. First, the calendar. Like Hero of Leaf Valley, the calendar automatically tells you everyone's birthday, including people in the other village, as well as every upcoming festival. The cooking festival is something we'll get into a little bit later, but it's the main competitive festival against the other village. And it's the only real way we can get the two villages to get along again. Healthy competition. I didn't realize this for a long time. The vase is not for flowers, per se. They kind of mistranslated it. It's actually for bouquets, which there's a villager in Bluebell who'll make them for us. On their own, no flowers go in there. It's actually a basket, not a vase. That's probably the problem. Assets is just the basic accounting, how much money you've made, all the animals you have, and how well you've done in the festivals. Good information to have, but I can take it or leave it. And we get a kitchen right from the start. I really enjoy cooking in this game. It's like a very simple crafting system. One group of items, one cooking utensil if you need one. You can cook with your hands for some recipes. And if you get a good recipe, it'll usually be worth more than the worth of the items that went into it. So it's another very good way to make money. Also, if you cook enough of a certain item, you'll just automatically learn another related recipe. It's a very cool idea, but I never have the ingredients for the recipe, so kind of wasted. What are you gonna do? Sadly, I am stuck in my house until I finally go to bed. But that's fine. We've learned a good deal, some of which we already knew. But for the most part, we're saying this is quite a unique entry into the Harvest Moon franchise. One that I'm looking forward to sharing with all of you. The saving, it takes a while for some reason. And yeah, some of the sound samples are pretty low quality. Apologies to anyone's ears for that. But in the next part, we're going to be getting our first bits of cattle. The mayor actually gives them to us right away. We can get right down to the nitty-gritty of living in Bluebell. We're going to be meeting some of the villagers, and we're going to be seeing all but a couple of the bachelors. So we're going to be saving voting on that until day 4. By that point, we'll have seen pretty much everyone. There's another bachelor much later on who doesn't show up until, I think, the fall. The fall or the winter, so kinda don't care, but for the rest of them, feel free to get down to suggesting names for animals. There are cows, sheep, chickens. Later on, guess what, Olivia? They're alpacas! But yeah, names for all the animals. If you've played the game and you know which bachelors there are, start getting an idea in your head of who you want me to start flirting with. Part 2 is going to go up at the same time as this if this was extremely boring, so don't you worry. But until you've changed over to part 2, hope you enjoyed, hope you stick around, and I'll see you next time.